There's this, it's really just a lie that many of us fall into the trap of, especially within the church world, leadership world, that we just go to the next latest, greatest conference, or we read the next latest, greatest book, and somehow it's going to be a quick fix into our churches and our places of ministry. That if we just would kind of do this and not do that, and that all of it's going to get better, when the reality of it is we're just putting band-aids on the problem. I mean, the solution to really the problem of the church, and let me just kind of clarify the problem, that God intends for the church to be a force to be reckoned with, but yet in our culture it seems to be a laughing joke. So how do we move from a laughing joke to a force to be reckoned with? And the solution, it's really simple, it's just hard. And the solution is this: we've just got to do what Jesus did. And what did Jesus do? He opened up his life and he shared his life with a few other folks. And as he shared his life with those guys, he reproduced his life in them. And so obviously as Jesus dies on the cross and rises from the dead, as we are forgiven of our sin and invited into a restored relationship with God, we now have a responsibility to represent that relationship, to continue Jesus' mission. And so the way we do that is we live our life the way Jesus lived his life, which means that we've got to open up our life and share it with a few other people in a way that we can reproduce our life into their life. So, how do we do that? Well, the first step is this. We've got to have a life that's worth reproducing. We've got to have a life that's worth imitating. We've got to have a life that if someone imitates us and then reproduces that in someone else, it's going to create someone who does what Jesus did. Which, I mean, it just seems simple to me that the very first thing that we've got to do, if we want to live this life of opening our lives up to others and reproducing in others, that others would imitate us, that they then would reproduce in someone else, that the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to have someone reproduce their life into us. We've got to have someone whose life we're imitating, who is imitating Christ. If you remember what Paul says to Timothy, imitate me, do what I do, as I imitate Christ. So my question to you today is, who are you imitating? Who is reproducing their life in you? Who are you imitating that's imitating Christ? Who's reproducing their life in you in a simple, memorable way that you then are being shaped and formed to reproduce that life into someone else? I think that's the first step. So I just want to encourage you today, if you don't have that already, to find someone who's living like Jesus and then just do what they do. And as you do that, your life then becomes reproducible, and you can reproduce into someone else. As they imitate you, they'll be imitating Christ. All right, have a great day. Good to be with you. Peace.